Okay, so I was just saying congratulations on putting together a very interesting film about a very complicated man.
Thank you. This is what
Um,
makes a good film.
yes, I think so. So throughout the film, there are a lot of things leading up to the final conclusion of the female professor who says, because he's been deemed offensive, he's not read so much these days. And so I think there's a lot of checkpoints throughout the film at which he's accused of racism, of misogyny, of ultra-conservatism, of blasting the liberals and so forth. So was it your intention to try and sort of get a full picture of the man? Tell me how you got into making the film.
So first of all, I don't make hagiographic films. So and also I think that to make a good film, it's to portray many sides the of your subject of the film. As you cannot see or hear better, I have a really heavy accent because I'm from Israel. I was born in Chicago, but my parents were there for studying in University of Chicago. Then I came back to Israel, and then in 2014 I lived for 3 years in the US, and I rediscovered Saul Bellow, and it was such a pleasure for me to read his literature. It was like a spiritual guide to understand better the American society. And this is also my mission in the film, that I want that people in the end of the film will go back and reread Saul Bellow. They can read him, they can criticize him, they can argue with him, but I want that in the end of the film, people will go back and read again his literature.
Well, I think that it seems that you're successful in that role. That's odd. We had weird audio for a minute there. But yes, it's a tremendous benefit to have Philip Roth, obviously, and Martin Amos. Now, Philip Roth was a friend of his. Was Martin Amos also a friend of his? Or just an admirer?
Philip Roth was a friend of him, but they had a very complicated relationship, as you understand from the film. The
Yes.
Saul Bellow was first his protege, then Saul Bellow stole his girlfriend, and of course he got married with her, and Philip Roth is not regret about it. But then Philip Roth got a very satirical portrayal of Saul Bellow in his novel The Ghostwriter. And later on, when they become older, they could be again friends. Martin Amos was also a very close friend with Saul Bellow from the 80s. They went together to vacation, and he saw, like, again, Saul Bellow like his protege in the literary field.
They're both huge admirers, and Philip Roth, in spite of the fact that he stole his girlfriend. So, as you say, complicated. The one thing when the female professor is talking about after the charges of misogyny, and she's saying, well, actually, it's more satirical, and it's a critique and commentary on this kind of male dominance, which is, some people will accept that, some people will not. So I think you presented well a lot of the different sides of the arguments about it. I just wanted to ask you, when you did your film about Isaac Bashevis Singer, and you say you don't make hagiographic films, so were you looking at a lot of different perspectives on that writer too?
Yes, the film about Isaac Bashevis Singer was about his women translators. He had 48 women translators that really helped him to get his fame, and they were never acknowledged as the important role that they did for Isaac Bashevis. But his first translator that made him famous was Saul Bellow. And was the trigger. And then the Isaac Bashevis singer that Saul Bellow translated his short story Gimpel the Fool in 1953. So Isaac Bashevis singer say, now they will not think that I'm a good writer. They will think that because Saul Bellow, this great and famous writer that just won the National Book Award for Augie March, they will think that because of him, I'm a good writer. So from now on, I will just translate with women. That
because he didn't need the lift anymore from Saul Bellow. So
yes, and he wanted that all the credit will go to him and not to his women.
Not to his translators. Okay. Oh, I appreciate that. So when you saw that, is that what one of the first things that put you on to making the film about Saul Bellow?
Yeah, exactly. Was the trigger to make a film about Saul Bellow, and I hope that the next film will be about Salman Rushdie. That was a great meeting with him during the film, that he admitted to me that he loves also Shalom Aleichem, the great Jewish writer. And we started to talk a lot about religions and believe in God and not believe in God. So maybe will be the next link to the next film.
Well, that sounds perfect. I would love to see that film. So I hope we will get to see that film. On the idea of mystical thought and faith, it's pointed to near the end of the film about Saul Bellow and more at the end of his life, but it's not made clear how much what his faith really turned out to be. I mean, Philip Roth refers to these mystical thoughts that he had and so forth, but is there more sort of documented ideas about how much he embraced his faith at the end, or his mystical ideas?
Yes, the mystical ideas are really the argument between in Ravelstein book between Ravelstein, that is like the alter ego of Alan Bloom, and the writer there, Chuck, that is Saul Bellow, and they are always arguing what will be when we will die, what will if we will meet. Alan Bloom doesn't believe in or didn't believe in the next world, and Saul Bellow there is believing in the next world.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for bringing us this film.
And it's a great book, by the way. That
what, Ravelstein?
I really recommend to read. Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to look at all those books, but definitely Augie March to start with. So, but thank you for bringing it to us, and thank you for bringing the awareness of Saul Bellow back to us. And I definitely look forward to seeing your film about Salman Rushdie, because that looks like very fascinating too. So thank you so much.
Thank you.